Hello and welcome everybody to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. We're back after an exciting qualifying with a new format. The last 16 qualifying battles turned out to be fantastic. My name is Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's up, dude?
Oh, not much. Just coming back from lunch, feeling refreshed, ready for some top 32 battles, especially after the little warm-up we got with that last 16. What a cool little thing we've brought in for this year, and I think it's definitely going to change the game throughout the season.
Yeah, I think so. And then, you sort of think about it, those drivers that just got done driving in that last 16 qualifying battles, they're kind of maybe warmed up and ready to go in and face those number one qualifiers and maybe make it a little bit more interesting instead of going in cold. But if you're just now joining us, welcome, and we'll take a look at today's line map. Start of the course is at the top right of the screen, and drivers are going to enter in with a small decel zone and then pick up throttle right as they come into that outside zone 1. No later than that. They'll drive down that hill, almost 90 sometimes, transition into clip to your next outside zone with a small little off throttle there. That's not really a decel. Drivers shouldn't be slamming on the brakes there, really dragging handbrake or anything like that. And another note, drivers should be staying off of those rumble strips if they're in that lead position. Same with the inside clip at clip 3. Stay off that rumble strip and make a nice arc around that physical clip that's on the track there. It's not on top of the rumble strip, it's right on that white line, so bumpers need to get around that. And then into clip 4, again, stay off the rumble strips from that lead position, and they'll manji through down into clip 6, where once again they're going to stay off those rumble strips. Use that track edge for all the points up front, and then into your next decel zone into clip 8 or outside zone 7, picking up throttle as soon as you get in there, and then driving the rest of the way through on throttle clip 9 and clip 10 across that finish line. So full of outside zones today, one inside clip, but a super fun course indeed. We'll take a look at that last 16 qualifying battles here. As you see, the 37th, 43rd, 33rd, and 42nd drivers move ahead into the top 32. We'll take a look at that there. Looks like we need to refresh it, because there we go. Zacho Sullivan qualifying first, but you see, Abdul Al-Shetwi will now face off against Zacho Sullivan. Brandon Gardner will now face off against Alexander Yegard. So an interesting dynamic to the new format and bringing it into the top 32 bracket.
Again, I think it's such a great idea just with how close everything has been. I mean, today it would have been a 91.7 cutoff for the top 32. So even getting a 90 wouldn't have been good enough. So I think it's a great way to let these guys, hey, I can do this. I deserve to be in the show today.
Yeah, I mean, they proved it. All of those drivers down in there in that last qualifying battles pretty much had sort of the same qualifying scores. They battled it out, and it turned out that the 29th, 30th, 31st, and 32nd qualifiers are the ones that are not going to make it into the top 32 today. Just insane, crazy. And again, those drivers are now going up against the highest qualifiers, but maybe sort of warmed up for it. So we'll have to see how it plays out. That's going to be one of our first battles.
It sure is, and it was a great little warm-up for us as well, especially with the first event back.
Absolutely. It took a little longer to get set up, but I think we got it figured out. And really it was only maybe 40 minutes of actual battle time. So now that we know the quirks, yeah, it's not really going to add much time to the whole entire event at all. And again, who doesn't want to see more battles?
Exactly. Well, I think we have our first battle up.
We do.
There we go. Okay. I was like, there's a car doing some weird things. But here we go with our first battle of the top 32. Zacho Sullivan, last year's champion of the Virtual Drift Championship, in that lead lane up against Abdulaziz Al-Shetwi, who won his way in through the last 16. Can he carry on? The light goes out. And off they go, initiating in. Great initiation from the lead of Zacho Sullivan. Al-Shetwi putting on the pressure, though, coming down the hill into that inside clip. Al-Shetwi trying to stay on that door and stay as close as possible to Zacho Sullivan as they transition. Oh, that was crazy, and a little bit of contact there through the camera change, causing Zacho Sullivan to go offline, and another contact from the chase driver, causing Zach to just shut down the run completely.
Yeah, he certainly did. We'll take another look at it here on today's first replay for the top 32 main event. Here we go. Zacho Sullivan out front, doing a fantastic job out front, filling that outside zone. Perfect transition there, grabbing that inside clip, just doing everything he needs to out front. Al-Shetwi right there on the bumper, and then here you see he almost sort of paused in the middle of the transition. He surged so hard in that chase position. And then there, I think, just trying to make up the gap again. And it's a very easy spot to come in a little too hot, especially if you are trying to make up a gap. And he gets into the side of Zacho Sullivan.
Well, back around at the start gate, we're going to see how the second half of this battle plays out. Zach just needs to keep it calm, cool, and collected to move on to the top 16 today. Everything on the line here for Al-Shetwi in that lead position. Out of the start gate they go, and down the straightaway they come, initiating in. Al-Shetwi out to a good start, and Zach very close behind him, following him and matching him in his angle through outer zone 1 as they come through that inside clip towards outer zone 3, now into the Manji section. Zach doing a good job just mimicking the lead driver and keeping up with him through this section of the course. They come through outer zone 7. Al-Shetwi doing a great job out front here, but I just don't know if it'll be enough to counteract that contact from the first run.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It all, comes down to how the judges see everything as well. But nonetheless, Al-Shetwi, the way he entered into turn 1 was phenomenal. Great transition there to almost over angles. Kind of a weird line as well. Goes a little bit wide after the inside clip and drives down into that next outside zone. But continues on nonetheless. Zach still in that chase position, still in the pocket. Maybe playing it a little safe back there as well, as they continue on and across that finish line. We'll go back and to the judges. Zacho Sullivan on the left, Abdulaziz Al-Shetwi on the right. Winner will move on into the top 16, and there it is. Quick decision from those judges. Zacho Sullivan gets the win. We'll see him in the top 16.
Big congrats to Zacho Sullivan. First round back of the year, and he's already making waves. Our next battle up, though, Luciano Canero in the Corvette in that lead lane, no longer rotary powered, but now powered by a wonderful 2J, getting chased down by Stanislav Tarasov in that Ferrari. The light goes on and off they go. Through the start gate, clean up the gears, and initiating in is Luciano. Good initiation, but right with them is Stanislav as they come down the hill and transition right along the bumper. Stanislav tries to get even closer to Luciano as they come through outside zone 3, now through the Manji section, just doing a good job at just mimicking him and trying to get as close as possible is that chase driver. Luciano putting on a wonderful lead run here as they come up to that final outer zone and cross the line.
Yeah, good start to the battle here between these two. Luciano out front in that Corvette. Stanislav in the chase in the big Ferrari. Luciano nicely done in the first turn. He continues on, drives down to that inside clip. Little waverly here and there, but filling the zones through this Manji section. Not the most speed out of the Corvette out front, but continuing on. Luciano right there in that pocket, along the bumpers through the transitions as well. Tough battle between these two.
That is absolutely right. And as we look back at the start gate now, we can see Stanislav at the line ready to go. And in the background, here comes Luciano. Took the longer way around.
Yeah, it looks like someone left their AI line on and couldn't drive backwards.
That happens. You get that nice 30-second walkout. It's a fun time. But both drivers back at the start gate, ready to go for the second half of this battle to see who will advance on to the top 16. Stanislav out front, Luciano chasing him down, initiating in, looking good for our lead driver. A nice gap off that initiation as well as they come down the hill, down to that inside clip. Luciano uses it to his advantage to try and get back up to the door of Stanislav as they come through this Manji section and down towards outside zone 6. Luciano starting to put on that pressure now into outer zone 7, trying to push up, get on that door, leaving for the room for the transition, and right alongside him, but losing ground right at the end, was Luciano.
Yeah, let's take another look here. The second half of this battle, Stanislav out front in the big Ferrari this time. Luciano giving chase, gets left behind a little bit on the run up there by Stanislav. Holds that gap pretty well all the way down to that inside clip as they continue on. Stanislav again, nice and smooth in the Ferrari. Luciano now bringing the fight to him, staying smooth as well. There they go into the last and final turn, cross that finish line, and we go to the judges. Luciano on the left, Stanislav on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Tough one to call between these judges here. Oh, and look at there. We have our first one more time of the event. Ed chooses Stanislav, but Chris and Matt both choosing to line him back up.
Well, that didn't take long. We know the competition's tight and very tough at this point. And of course, coming into this round with the drivers getting, all that time off, built the new cars, they get to play around and have a lot more fun. A lot of these guys are crazy, so I won't be surprised if we don't see a couple one more times throughout the day. But
yeah, I think we will.
I think we will too. I mean, these
and
guys.
Same Roshi. Sorry to cut you off, Tanner.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
I'll keep going. Okay, well, I'll keep going because they're back at the line. Luciano Canero and Stanislav Taraslav. Luciano in the Corvette, Stanislav in the Ferrari, and they're ready to go for their one more time battle. The light goes on and off they go. Only our second battle in, and we're already into a one more time. Initiating in is Luciano. A lot closer this time around is Stanislav as they come down that hill, just grazing the bumper into that inside clip, staying right beside him as they transition through this Manji section. So close on those transitions, getting the door of Luciano through outer zone 6, now into outer zone 7. A little ground lost for the Ferrari, but not by much. That proximity is right on the door. Luciano with a great lead run.
Yeah, fantastic indeed. We'll take another look at it back on the replay. Luciano out front. Look at the angle down the hill as he continues on, filling that outside zone, riding along that track edge, doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And then look at there, Stanislav in that chase position right up on the door of that Corvette. They continue on through the course, last and final transition, right on the track edge and across the finish line. And now we see.
Yes.
Pilot. This is, a skill set in its own.
This
as
is.
Well.
For anyone that's driven these cars, even in the VDC 3.0 public pack, like reversing, they're not meant to go backwards.
Yeah, we gave them like a whole thing that, lets them drive backwards if the AI line is on and everything too.
He wanted to just make sure,
keep it spicy.
Exactly. So here we go with the second half of the one more time battle. Stanislav out front with Luciano giving chase. Initiating in is Stanislav, but going real wide is Luciano on that first outside clipping zone. Man, I can't speak. The run's too good. Here we go through the Manji section with Stanislav out front, still doing a good job in that lead, with Luciano starting to catch up and regain that proximity and start to put the pressure onto that lead driver. But will it be enough? That was quite a ways off on that first outer zone.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Stanislav out front in the big Ferrari this time. Luciano in the chase. And nicely done for turn 1. Little bobble on the angle there, adds it towards the end, and then, chucks it into the next zone. Continues on here very nicely, though. Lots of angle there. Continuing on, Luciano right in that chase position where he should be. But you see, Stanislav caught a bunch of angle through the bump as well before making the transition. Small little bobble there in clip 8 or outside zone 7. It's a tough one. Luciano was super smooth in that lead position, but wasn't quite as close to Stanislav in his chase, where Stanislav was really close in his chase. But I'm not sure if he had a better lead. Of course, leaving it up to those judges, it is all up to them on who's going to get the win and move on into the top 16. And there it is. Stanislav is going to get the win, move on, showing that aggression in that chase position right up on the door, coming down off that bump.
Very good indeed, and that'll be a fun battle to watch in the top 16, him against Zach O'Sullivan. But now our next top 32 battle, we have Dejon Reeves up against Raman Katastrenka. Dejon in the Corvette, Raman in the FDRX7. Out of the gate, they come down the straight, and initiating in is Reeves, and looking good off of that initiation, pulling away from Raman quite a bit off of that initiation. Raman trying to sacrifice that inside line to regain that proximity as they can make their way through the Manji section now. The proximity's back for Raman. He's just got to keep it there as Dejon really makes his way through this course and using the power of that Corvette to really pull him through and put the car where it needs to be and finish out the run.
Yeah, nicely done out front from the rookie driver in the Corvette, Dejon Reeves. As we take another look here, nicely done on the initiation, leaves that track edge just ever so slightly, but stays on a good line throughout the zone, grabbing that inside clip all the way out there, maybe a little late in that zone. Nice and smooth out front, does drop just a little bit there. And Raman back and forth back there. Sometimes he's close, sometimes he falls back quite a bit, but across the line they go.
And now back around at the start line, Raman Katastrenka in the lead position, and Dejon in the chase. Ready to start the second half of their battle to see who will advance on to the top 16 later today. Through the start gate they come nice and clean. Raman with a crazy flick entry, a little contact there off of the initiation, but it's not enough to upset the drivers. They come down the hill into that inside clip. Dejon doing a great job keeping the pressure on Raman as they come through the Manji section and into outer zone 6. Good proximity from that chase as they come into outer zone 7 now, keeping a good line and angle. And this overall, it's been a great battle this second half with a little bit more contact there right before the finish.
Yeah, fantastic between these two drivers. Let's take another look on the replay. Raman with the entry here, swinging that thing all the way out to the track edge as he should. Nice and smooth out front, good transition, picking up that inside clip, but does go just a little bit wide there. Gets to the outside a little bit early. Nicely done on the track edge there as well. And look at Dejon, maybe applying a little bit more aggression, a little bit more pressure in that chase, staying with him more, I think, throughout the entirety of the course rather than a big back and forth. It's going to be an interesting one to call. Dejon on the left, Raman on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Looks like we've got a decision. We do. Dejon, Reese getting the win unanimously as well from all three of those judges. He's going to move on over Raman, and we'll see him again later in that top 16.
And a great job there from Dejon as we move into our next battle of the top 32. Cain Ebanks in the R35 in that lead position up against William Holloway in another FDRX7. And the lights are on, and off they go for the first half of their top 32 battle. Down the straight they come, initiating in is Cain Ebanks. Great initiation, but just as good from the chase driver, who is doing a good job. Huge surge from the chase driver to regain that proximity loss down the hill, and doing a good job not to make any contact and just keeping it to the door of Cain Ebanks, who's doing a great job out front here. Now they come through outer zone 7 and into 8. And it's just looking overall like a great run between both these guys.
Yeah, William putting up a fight against Cain. As we take another look here, Cain out front in his GTR. Entering in nicely along that track edge. Nice and smooth on the angle, just locked into it, but comes up a little shy there, and a bit of an over angle. Puts him on a bit of an awkward line, and he comes into outside zone 3 a little bit late, but then gets back onto that correct line. While William Holloway in the chase, look at him, he's right there in the pocket. Maybe could be a little bit closer here and there through those transitions, but smooth nonetheless.
Smooth indeed as they're back to the start line. William Holloway will now take the lead position, and Cain Ebanks will start in the chase. And the lights are on, and the second half of this battle is underway. Initiating in is William Holloway. Looking good on that initiation. Cain, though, right there with the pressure, keeping right up with him all the way through that first outer zone, down the hill to the third outer zone. Now for the Manji section. And looking good from both drivers. Cain keeping that pressure on. William driving great so far out front here. Little tire drop, but nothing to shake a stick at as they come around the final turn now. Right along the door was Cain, putting that pressure on the whole battle.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Again, William out front, Cain chasing him down in the big GTR. William, nice initiation there. and almost over angling it. Takes him a while to transition as well, and he drops a small little bit of tire at the outside zone too. But you see there, Cain falling back a little bit through the Manji section, reels him back in here. William pouring on the angle, picking up that throttle when he should in that zone as well. Last and final transition, almost over angling there, and it sort of drives him off that last and final outside zone. So a lot of, you know, tit for tat here and there in this run. So it's of course up to those judges. Cain on the left, William on the right. Winner moves on to the top 16. And there it is, quickly, unanimously from all three. Cain gets the win, and we'll see him in just a bit.
Job from Cain there to get that win. And move on to the top 16 to go up against Dejon Reese.
He does indeed, and that's going to do it for the first group of top 32. Let's take a look at how the bracket is playing out so far. Zacho Sullivan moves on and will face off against Stanislav Tarasov in that big Ferrari later in the top 16. Dejon and Cain will face off in the top 16 as well after they got their wins in the top 32. All right, and they are at the line, ready to go for our next group of top 32.
Yeah, next group loaded and ready to go. Robert Kowinski in that lead position in the BMW, being chased down by Abdulaziz Al-Harbi as they initiate into that first outer zone. Abdulaziz doing a good job to keep the pressure on through that first outer zone to not lose too much proximity as they come down the hill and into outer zone 3. Robert getting a good transition through the Manji section, and Abdul just keeping that pressure on him right up to the door as they transition into outer zone 7. A little out of shape goes Abdulaziz behind, trying to keep that angle. We'll see how that fades out to the judge's decision.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Robert out front. Harvey giving chase all the way out there to that track edge is Robert. Nice on the transition, drives that car down to the inside clip and out to that track edge. Out front in that BMW, but Abdulaziz applying the pressure there, coming down off that bump. Nice and smooth. Almost over angles through that rumble strip in that chase position, and then gets hung up for just a second and across that finish line.
Back around at the start gate, they're ready for the second half of this battle. In the GT86 in the lead lane is Abdulaziz Al-Harbi, getting chased down by the BMW of Robert Kowinski. Initiating in, looking good off that initiation. Robert sticking right with them, keeping that pressure on even as they come down the hill. Sticking right to the door of Abdulaziz. Abdulaziz leaves that outer zone just a little bit early, but it doesn't shake up the chase drivers, doing a great job at just keeping that car in proximity right on the door as they come to the final 2 outer zones now. And the push comes from that chase, and they finish side by side.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Abdulaziz out front this time. Robert giving chase. Look at that initiation. Nicely done, but again, as we saw earlier, he's driving off of that first outside zone. Makes a nice arc into there. Continuing on, but as you see, leaving those zones just a little bit early. That one as well, just slightly early throughout that whole Manji section of the course. Robert applying the pressure in that chase. And across that finish line, we go to those judges. Robert on the left, Abdulaziz on the right. And a quick decision from the judges here. Is it unanimous? It is. Robert gets the win, and we'll see him in the top 16.
And now we move on to the next battle of the top 32. Daniel Andrzejewicz versus Lazam Isao. Daniel in the BMW and Lazam in his S14. The lights go on and off they go to start this top 32 battle. Down the straight and initiating in is Daniel, looking good, but Lazam sticking with him through that first outside zone, down the hill into the inside clip. Keeping the pressure on is the chase, just trying to keep it all together through the Manji section. No contact, even though it was a little bit on the bumper, and as I say that, Lazam touches the fender of Daniel through outer zone 6, but they make it through outer zone 7 clean, and now just keeping that pressure on is our chase driver all the way to the finish.
Yeah, he certainly did. We'll take another look here. Daniel Andreyev out front, Lazam giving chase, entering in. Look at there, right on that track edge and door to door. Now Lazam falls off a little bit through that zone, but then picks him back up by outside zone 3. There he is through these transitions, right along that bumper, staying with him, but a clean, smooth lead run out front, even with a little bit of contact there coming down through that little bump. Lazam through that transition and a huge dive to finish off the course.
Well, now back around at the start line, ready for the second half of this battle. Lazam in the lead position. Daniel ready to chase him down. Who will be the next to move on to the top 16? Down the straight they come. Initiating in is Lazam. Good initiation. Little late there from Daniel in that chase position, but does a good job to stick with them. But oh, big overcorrection there from Daniel and setting them all out of shape. There was a little bit of leg there from Lazam at the start, and I wonder if that's what maybe caused the contact. But Daniel doing his best to try and catch up and regain that proximity, and he does manage to get there. One last transition to go, but we'll see how the judges are going to look at that.
Yeah, it's always an unfortunate one when you see lag, and it really affects the run. And we saw it kind of earlier too in Lazam's qualifying runs. He had a little bit of lag here and there. Yeah, that was really odd to see there. And you know, the whole transition was stepped. You know, it was like a 3-step transition, and you know, could have very well been the same for Daniel Andreyev in that chase position, and I could definitely see where that could throw him off. Again, it comes down to the judges, but our rulebook does state it comes down to the person that does lag is always at fault if there is, you know, like contact or something. I guess we don't have contact in this situation. So yeah, it could just be a judge's discretion here. We'll go to the judge's box there. They'll slide left for Daniel and right for Lazam. And there it is. We do have a decision. Lazam is going to get the win and move on. Sure, there was lag, but again, there really wasn't any contact. Yeah, it is a tough one. There, you see him lag, at least on our screen. You never know what happened on his screen as well. It's a tough one.
Very much so, but we're going to jump right into our next top 32 battle. Marcel in the S15 up against Kevin Stump in that Nissan Z as they initiate into that first outer zone. Looking good so far from our lead, but Kevin Stump starting to reel him in, coming through that inside clip now into the Manji section with these two outer zones right along the bumper. Does Kevin Stump transition up against Marcel into outer zone 7? Huge push to try and get on the door, but it doesn't quite work. He leaves the room open for the transition, and they finish out door to door.
Yeah, they do. Let's take another look at the first half of this battle between these two. Marcel out front, Kevin Stump giving chase and a little bit behind in that chase position when they initiate. He makes a surge there, Kevin Stump in that chase position, and reels him in. Staying with him through the Manji section of the course here. Nicely done through that transition, down through the bump. And another big surge, almost making contact there. Took him a second to really get through to the angle that he wanted and across that finish line.
Now let's see how the second half of this battle plays out. Kevin Stump now in the lead lane, and Marcel ready to chase him down. The lights go on. The second half of the battle is underway as they head down the straightaway and initiate in. Kevin Stump off to a beautiful initiation, but gets hit from the chase driver of Marcel off the initiation, and that puts him into the gravel and effectively ending this run.
Yeah, another unfortunate one to see here. We'll let Marcel finish out his run that he's got going here and take another look on the replay. There he goes across that finish line, shutting down. And we'll take another look. Here we go. Kevin Stump initiating in. Yeah, it just looks like a massive surge from Marcel in that chase position. Makes huge contact with Kevin Stump. And then Marcel sort of continues on with the buy run. We'll go back live. We'll bring up those judges. Marcel on the left, Kevin Stump on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. There they go. All three judges. Kevin Stump moves on.
Kevin Stump off to the top 16, and now to figure out who will be joining him. In the lead position, it will be Ethan Minima in the S15 being chased down by Alexander Element in the Ferrari. The lights go on and this top 32 battle's underway. Down the straight they come. Initiating in is Ethan, but right with him is Alexander Element off that initiation, slowing himself down a bit in that chase position, but making a huge surge, making contact through that inside clip as they transition into the Manji section now. Looking good from that leader as Element is just trying to put on that pressure and really stick on that door and keep that proximity as they have one last transition to do before finally hitting that final outer zone and finishing out side by side.
Yeah, good start to the battle here. Let's take another look. Ethan out front, Alexander in the chase position. And a good initiation. Does jump off the zone just a little bit, back onto that track edge. Alexander Element surging through that transition, even makes a little bit of contact there just before the inside clip. They continue on though. Ethan doing a good job out front in his S15. They're all the way out there to that track edge. Nicely done there for outside 7 as well as they continue on. Last and final transition. Alexander staying off of him, but then reeling him back in for that finish line.
Now we'll see how the second half of this battle plays out. Alexander Element now in the lead position with Ethan ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Element through the gate cleanly and initiates in. Ethan right there with him as they come down the hill, and a big gap there from down the hill. Alex out on a good line, but Ethan kind of suffering a little bit in that chase position as they come through the Manji section and off to outside zone 6. Transitioning into 7, a surge from the chase to try and get even closer, and it does work for him. He doesn't make contact. He regains some of that proximity that he's lost, but will it be enough?
Yeah, well, let's take another look here again. This time, Element out front. Ethan giving chase. Look at the initiation here, really fast down the straight from Alexander Element. And kind of pulls out of the angle a little bit early, kind of a stepped transition once again there, but without the lag this time. Continuing on through Ethan, applying some pressure now, coming down up through that bump and into outside 7 nicely. Falls back and lets him transition. And there they go, across that finish line. So let's go to those judges. Ethan this time on the left, Alexander Element on the right. Winner moves on to the top 16. Exciting bracket so far. Had a lot of fun with those qualifying battles as well. Here we are in the top 32. Already have one more time. Do we have another? Ed goes right for Alexander Element, and so does Matt. Alexander Element gets the win. Chris wanted it one more time, but there you have it. Alexander Element moves on.
That's half our top 32 bracket done and dusted.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the bracket here. Left side is done and finished. Zacho Sullivan moves on. He'll face Stanislav Taraslav in the top 16. Tyshawn Reese and Cain Ebanks will also go head-to-head in the top 16. Robert Kavinsky and Lazam, Kevin Stump, and Alexander Element. Exciting top 16 coming up, but we've got the right side of the bracket to go. Brandon Gardner and Alexander Yegard are next up on our bracket. Ericus Yerkus and Maxim Tengai, Artem Chokov and Ernestas Lakulubis, and Masashi Yoshida and Ethan Pikachu. Our first group of the right side of the top 32.
Maybe one day we'll ask Ethan how to properly. I think it's just the running thing.
Yeah, it's fine. I even think he has one on his car somewhere.
I think he does, yes.
Right. Judges calling those drivers to the line. They're ready to go and send the first group.
Well, this battle of the top 32 is going to have Brandon Gardner, who qualified second today in that NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z, up against Alexander Lockstop Yagard in that S13. Light goes on and off they go for this top 32 battle. Initiating in is Brandon Gardner. Looking good off the initiation. A little further behind is Alexander as they transition down the hill. Getting up on the door is the chase driver as he leaves just enough room for that transition to happen through the Manji section. But putting on the pressure, maybe going offline there for the chase as they come through outside zone number 7 now. One last push to the final. A little tap there from the chase driver and across the line.
Yeah, nicely done between these two. Brandon Gardner out front this time. Alexander Yegard chasing him down. And there they go through turn 1. Brandon Gardner pulling a gap through that first turn, but look at there, right along the bumper through that first transition. Alexander Yegard is back into the fight. There he is again through that transition as well. Once more, does drop a little bit of a tire back there, and because so, he drops back in that chase position, has to reel him back in there for outside zone 7. Does a nice job for the last and final turn, maybe giving him a little bump there as well.
Well, here we go for the second half of this battle. Alexander out front, ready to lead it away. Brandon ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and here we go. Down the straight, initiating in. Good initiation from Alex, and a good initiation from the chase driver, keeping that proximity. Wow, that was close on the transition. Thought they were going to make contact, and they didn't. Through the third outer zone and now into the Manji section, Brandon is just putting on the pressure onto Alexander as they come through outside zone 7. A little bit of a gap established through there, but immediately it gets clawed back from the chase driver as they finish out this run.
Yeah, nicely done once more. Here we go with the replay. Alexander Yegard out front, but look at there. Hanging on to that rumble strip a little bit too long. Again, drivers should be staying off all of those rumble strips. But in that particular area, when you do, you really kind of hold the outside for too long, leading to your transition being late. And there, you're having to over-angle the car to really slow it down before you make your transition, which is, it's a tough thing to chase as a chase driver. So let's go to those judges again. Nicely done throughout the rest of the course there. Really cleaned up the rest. A good lead, good chase from both of them in both positions. So here we go. Brandon on the left, Alexander Yegard on the right. Looks like it's gonna be one more time. No, it is split once more. So Chris and Matt both chose Brandon Gardner. But Ed choosing one more time. He wanted to see him line up again. But Brandon will move on into the top 16.
So Brandon getting that win there over Alex and moving on to the top 16 as we have our next battle at the line ready to go. Ericus in the BMW in that lead lane. And chasing him down is going to be Alexander Tingay. The lights go on, and this battle gets underway. Initiating in is Ericus, and a good initiation, but right with him is Maxim, right on the door down the hill as they make the transition to that inside clip and out to outer zone 3. Maxim having to slow down just a little bit not to make contact in the Manji section, but quickly trying to put that pressure back onto Ericus. They come into outer zone 7. Looking good between both these drivers, both mimicking each other and their angle almost perfectly through that whole run.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Ericus out front this time. Maxime giving chase in his S15. And look at that initiation. Nice and smooth from Ericus. Nicely done on that transition at the bottom of the hill too. Look at there, tight to the inside clip. Maybe hangs the bumper just ever so slightly over that rumble strip. Maxime falling behind through that Manji section of the course, but then reeling him in there as they leave that zone. Last and final turn here. Good lead out front. And a nicely done chase.
Now Maxine's going to have his turn in the lead position. Ericus is going to chase him down as the lights go on for the second half of this battle. Down the straight, Maxim comes and initiates in. Ericus right there with them, though, as they come up over the hill. Little off of the zone is Maxim, but Ericus really taking advantage of that hill and getting on the door of Maxim from that chase position, going through the Manji section now. Maxim doing what he needs to do, but Ericus just not letting up, not letting him have any room to breathe as they come through outer zone 7. And one last transition to finish out this run, and look at Ericus all over Maxim's door.
Yeah, not bad at all. Let's take another look here. Maxim out front. Ericus in that chase. Look at there, right along that track edge, but hanging on to that rumble strip a little bit too long as Maxim opening the door for Ericus. Really man hard there, and then look at that transition right along the bumpers. Continue on here. Nice and smooth out front from Maxim and his S15. Filling the zones as he should. And there they go across that finish line. Once more, we go to the judges. Ericus on the left this time. Maxim on the right. Again, winner moves on into the top 16. And Ericus, he's going to get the win, move on into the top 16. What a chase he put on there in that battle.
Yeah, really knew he needed to lay the pressure down, and that's exactly what he did. And that earned him a spot in the top 16 later today, as our next battle is coming to the line. Artem Cholkov in that beautiful FDRX7 up against Ernestas in the S14. The lights go on and off they go. Artem tearing down the straight, initiating in. Ernestas right there with him, though, almost on the door for the initiation and through outer zone 1, leaving just enough room for that transition coming down the hill through that inside clip, still on the door of Artem, making their way through the Manji section now. Back up on the door goes the chase driver, just placing that pressure onto the lead, making sure he can't make a mistake. And this is just absolute great driving and what to be expected here of the top 32.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Artem out front in his RX-7. Ernestas maybe putting on the most aggressive initiation in that chase position that we've seen so far today. He stays with him all the way through that first turn, drops back, lets the transition happen, and then slowly reels him in through turn 2, falls back the way he sort of needs to there to leave enough transition for that next transition, or room for the next transition. They continue on. Look at this, last and final one. Fantastically done by both these drivers.
Without background at the start, we get to see how this is gonna shape up and who's gonna make their way into the top 16. Ernestas now in the lead position. Artem ready to chase him down. The lights are on and off they go for the second half of this top 32 battle. Initiating in, and it's just as aggressive initiation from Artem in that chase, as he even makes a little bit of contact coming through that inside clip. Transitioning to the Manji section, barely letting any room go between the bumpers as they transition right along the door. Ernestas said, hey, I'm here, you gotta go. And now Artem's saying, I can do it too, coming through that final outside zone and finishing out their run.
Yeah, now that was a battle between these two. Ernestas entering in, and look at there, Artem. Same aggression in that chase position. Tiny little wobble before he makes his transition, but I mean almost identical there in that chase, as well as the lead. Look at him continue on. Artem maybe applying a little bit more pressure throughout the entirety of the run. It is tough to call here. Maybe we have another one more time in front of us. We'll go back to those judges. Artem on the left, Ernestas on the right. Winner again, we'll see in the top 16. Oh, we might have a decision here. We do. Artem gets the win unanimously from all three of those judges. We'll see him in the top 16, but what a fantastic battle between those two.
Absolutely fantastic. Really showing off the level that these drivers are at. But we're not done yet. We're close, but not quite. Next top 32 battle, Masashi Yoshida in the BMW up against Ethan Pikachu in that new Nissan Z. The lights go on, and this battle's underway to see who will grab the next top 16 spot. Initiating in is Masashi Yoshida, looking good. Right on him, though, is Ethan as they come down the hill and through the next outer zone. Wow, how contact didn't get made there from the chase. That was absolutely great driving as they come through the next outer zone and right on the door to Masashi is Ethan. Ethan's not giving up any breathing room through outer zone 7. Masashi's got to keep up the space because Ethan is right there on the door when they cross that line.
Yeah, he sure was. Let's take another look here. Masashi out front in that awesome BMW, getting chased down by Ethan, and Ethan doing a really good job returning back in that Z. They continue on into turn 2, all the way out there to that track edge in that wagon. They continue on. Falling back a little bit is Ethan in that section of the course, but then reeling quickly back in there as well for outside 7. Last and final transition, last turn, and you see Masashi come up maybe a little bit short for that last and final outside zone.
Back around at the start line for the second half of this battle. Now Ethan will lead and Masashi will chase him down. Masashi has to bring on the pressure here as they initiate in. Ethan off to a good initiation, but Masashi right there with him as they transition down the hill. A little bobble there though from Yoshida as they come through that inside clip. As they come through the Manji section now, Ethan doing a great job out front here, but Yoshida's really just sticking it to the door of Ethan. But I think it'll come down to what happened there at outside zone 2 and why he looked all out of shape.
Yeah, let's see here on the replay. Ethan out front, initiating in nicely, door to door through outside 1. And yeah, at the bottom of the hill, it takes Masashi quite a second to get to angle, gets caught up in that transition in the chase position, but gets right back into the fight here against Ethan out front. Ethan doing exactly what he needs to in that lead though, pouring on the angle, gets all the way out there to the last and final zone. A tough one to call for these judges as Masashi is on the left, Ethan Pikachu on the right. And there it is. We have a decision from the judges. Ethan gets the win over Masashi, moving forward into the top 16. And that's going to do it for that group. On the right-hand side of your bracket, Brandon Gardner moves on to face off against Ericus in the top 16. Artem and Ethan will also do head-to-head battle in the top 16. Next up, Danielis and Daniel Mora. Darius Ostraka and Reese Tatterson, Alan Hines and Cameron Mustard, Brandon Patrick and Christian Petrov. The bottom right-hand side of the bracket, our last and final battles of the top 32.
Well, here we go for the next battles of the top 32, and at the line is Danielis in that BMW, and in the E30 beside them is Daniel Mora. Ready to go to see who's going to claim the next spot in the top 16. Initiating in is Danielis, looking good. Daniel Mora, though, a little out of shape on that initiation as they come down the hill. Trying to match that angle and line as they come through that inside clip out to outer zone 3. Danielis doing a good job out here in that lead. As Daniel Mora is sticking right to the door of the lead driver. Almost making contact there before the transition, but holding it together and finishing out the run.
Yeah, here we go. Back to the replay for the first half of this battle. Danielis out front. Daniel Mora giving chase. And doing a good job out front is Danielis. And there you see Daniel make the surge in the chase. Back up onto the door. Falls back for this transition. Stays where he should. And then reeling him back in down into that zone. Smooth transition, but you see Danielis get a little bit caught up, or hung up, should I say, in that zone there, but continues on. And we'll switch them up for the second half of their battle.
We sure will, as Daniel Mora takes his spot in that lead position. And Danielis gets to slot in right beside him in the chase to start the second half of this top 32 battle. Light goes on and off they go. Daniel Mora initiates in. Right behind him is Danielis. A little bit of a gap, though, between them coming through that first outer zone. Down the hill now into the inside clip. Danielis doing a good job to apply that pressure and keep in the pocket of Daniel Mora as they come through the Manji section now, leaving a little bit more room, but making up for it in outer zone 6, transitioning to outer zone 7. Mora's still out there out front, but Danielis is not giving up and keeping that proximity right to the door of Daniel Mora all the way through to the end.
Yeah, great job by both of these drivers as we take another look here on the replay. Daniel Mora out front this time and pulling a bit of a gap there on Parangauskas in that chase position. Again, chase car. A little caught up in the angle back there. Now Daniel a little bit wide for inside clip and coming into that next outside zone, outside 3, but then gets back onto it. Nicely done here. Very smooth from Daniel. And across that finish line, we go to the judges with these two. Very evenly matched. I think Parangauskas on the left, Mora on the right. Winner, of course, moves on into the top 16. And here we go. Looks like we have a decision. Chris goes left for Parangauskas. One more time from Ed. It's up to Matt. Matt goes left for Danielis. Parangauskas will move on into the top 16. Tough one between those two.
A tough one indeed, but a good job there from the rookie of Danielis to get through to the top 16 as we have our next drivers at the line ready to go. Darius Ostreka in the BMW up against Reese Tatterson in the 370Z. Darius will lead for this first run. And the light goes on and off they go to start this top 32 battle. Darius Ostreka initiating in. Reese Tatterson right there with them as they come off the initiation, but losing ground very quickly was Reese off of the exit of that first outer zone, but makes up the ground there through the inside clip and gets back on the door of Darius Ostreka as they come through outer zone 5 and down towards 6. The pressure's back on from that chase driver to really get up there and stay in that pocket so the lead cannot make any mistakes as they come through that last outer zone and cross the line.
Yeah, interesting start to this battle. I had this as my pick for battle of the day for the top 32, but look at there, Darius getting out ahead. Now I know Reese past couple of days have had a couple of internet issues here and there. Maybe that's playing into it, but Reese back into the fight after that, keeping things going. Darius on a lead line right along that track edge and across that finish line. We'll switch them up.
As our drivers get back to the start line and flipped around, Reese Tatterson will take his spot in that lead position, and Darius Ostreka will be getting ready to chase him down. The light goes on and off they go. For the second half of this top 32 battle, initiating in is Alan Hines. Good initiation, but right with him is, sorry, not Alan Hines, Reese Tatterson down the hill. Darius regains that proximity and gets back up on the door of Reese Tatterson as they come through the Manji section. Now Darius is really starting to apply that pressure into outer zone 6, transitioning now to 7. Darius is playing with getting as close as possible before that final transition. And what a good battle between both of these guys.
Yeah, let's take another look at the second half of this battle. Reese on the right, Darius on the left. And entering in, jumping off that zone just a little bit is Reese, but back into it. Tons of angle before making his transition. Darius Ostrika in that chase right there along those bumpers. Good surge here. This portion of the course. Falls back just a little bit as Darius maybe playing it safe coming into this outside zone. Nicely done once more for that last and final transition. And we go back to those judges. Darius Ostrika on the left, Reese Tatterson on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Again, last and final group of the top 32.
Yeah, almost done.
And we have a decision already. Darius Ostrika gets the win, moves on into the top 16, knocking Reese Tatterson out of competition.
Wow, Darius Ostrika getting that win. That's a cool battle. But on to our next one, as we only have 2 battles left. Starting with this one, Alan Hines in the lead position in that S15 up against Cameron Mustard in that R33. And the light goes on and this battle's underway. Alan Hines down the straight in that lead position, initiates in, but Cameron Mustard following him in, right with them down the hill, leaving no room for the transition. The rookie Cameron is just going for it against the ace that is Alan Hines as they come through that Manji section and up into outer zone 6, mimicking him all the way through into outer zone 7. One last transition to go. One last chance to put the pressure onto Alan Hines and finish off the run side by side.
Yeah, let's check it out again. Alan Hines out front this time. Cameron Mustard giving chase. Alan throwing that car in. Hanging on to the outside, maybe a little bit too long. Again, opening the door for Cameron Mustard, though, to be right there with him through that transition. That one as well. Cameron doing a fantastic job in that chase with Alan Hines out front, leading them through this course. Nicely done for outside 7. Nice and smooth on that last and final transition and across the finish line.
Well, back around at the start and ready to go again. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. That's an R32. I only just saw. Don't mind me. But at the start line is Cameron Mustard ready to go in his lead run up against Alan Hines, who's chasing him down. Initiating in is Cameron Mustard. Alan Hines even closer off the initiation down the hill. As they transition through outer zone 2 into that inside clip, Alan Hines gets back on the door and starts applying the pressure to Cameron as they come through outer zone 5 down into 6, almost touching Cameron there through outer zone 6, leaving room for the transition into outer zone 7. Last transition, last chance to push, and wow, what a battle between these two.
Yeah, Cameron Mustard bringing the fight to Alan Hines. Here we go on the replay. Nicely done on initiation. Alan right there with him as they make their way down the hill. Nice and smooth on the transition. Alan reeling him back in for outside zone 3. As they continue on here. Nicely done out front. The lead exceptional from Cameron Mustard. But again, the chase from Alan Hines here. Nicely done. Really smooth. Good aggression. Applying that pressure. And across that finish line. Do we have a decision from these judges? Alan Hines on the left, Cameron Mustard on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there it is. We have a decision unanimously. All 3. Alan Hines gets the win over Cameron Mustard. But man, Cameron bringing the fight to Alan Hines. Nicely done.
Yeah, not many rookies can do that, to go right up against Alan and go, hey, I can hang out with the big boys. So now we move on to our final battle of the top 32. Brandon Patrick in the Ferrari up against Christian Petrov in that S15. You get through the gate and initiate in. Looking good from Brandon Patrick out front. Christian Petrov matching him through that initiation as they come down the hill towards that inside clip. Petrov trying to use that advantage to get back up on the door and regain some of that proximity he lost. Had to lunge forward to try and get even more of it back, but he is still falling back as they come through outer zone 6 and now into outer zone 7. Christian's really just trying to, looks like he's playing that catch-up game, trying to get back up on that door. Manages to get in that pocket just before the end.
Yeah, just couldn't quite stay with the Ferrari there throughout that run. We'll take another look at it. Brandon Patrick again out front in that Ferrari, entering in nicely. Christian Petrov in that chase position. And there you see a big gap form from that first transition. Makes a dive there. And works his way trying to get back into the pocket of that big Ferrari Fiorello. Continuing on, last and final transition here. Again, just not really applying the pressure until about that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start line. The second half of this battle is ready to get underway. Christian Petrov in the lead. Brandon Patrick ready to chase him down in our final battle of the top 32. Who will take that final spot in the top 16 to go up against Alan Hines later on today as they initiate in. Christian Petrov with a great initiation, but goes 4 off the initiation and immediately leaves as we move over to Brandon Patrick as he's going to take a little bit of a victory run after seeing that and knowing he's secured his place in the top 16.
Yeah, unfortunate one to see there with Christian Petrov just going a little bit too hard and into the paint and off the track. So that does mean Brandon Patrick will get the win there and move ahead into the top 16. So nicely done from Brandon Patrick there in that big Ferrari. And let's take a look at the bracket and how it played out. Zacho, Sullivan, and Stanislav will face off. Dejon and Cain Ebanks, Robert Kevsensky, Lazam Masal, Kevin Stump, Alexander Element, Brandon Gardner, Ericus, Artem Cholkov, Ethan Pikachu, Daniela Sparangauskas, and Darius Ostreka. Last and final, Alan Hines and Brandon Patrick. They're going to face off in the top 16. That's going to be a battle to wait for. But in the meantime, we're going to take a very short break here from our wonderful, wonderful sponsors, Sim Magic, Extreme Racing, and Grip Roll. So go run, grab a drink, grab some snacks, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back again with more battles here. We are back for the top 16 this time. Let's take a look at the bracket real quick. Zacho Sullivan and Stanislav Taraslov will start things out for the top 16. Next up, Dejon, Reese, and Cain Ebanks, Robert Kivsinski, and Lazam Masao, Kevin Stump, and Alexander Element for our first group of qualifying. But we've got our first drivers here at the line ready to go.
We sure do. Zacho Sullivan in that lead position after an amazing qualifying, an amazing top 32. Now he's into the top 16, but Stanislav stands in his way and wants to progress just as much in that Ferrari as they initiate in. Zach out front, Stanislav chasing. Stanislav right there with Zach as they come down the hill, transitioning along the bumper and wheel to wheel through that inside clip, putting on a show through that outer zone. Little too aggressive as a tap is made by the chase driver into Zacho Sullivan through the Manji section, but now coming into outer zone 7, the Ferrari of Stanislav is not giving up as they cross that line side by side.
Yeah, holy smokes, what a way to start the top 16. We'll take another look at it here. Zach entering in along that track edge, looking nice in that lead, but look at there, right on the bumper is Stanislav, and then makes a small little bobble there through that second turn. We don't see any brake lights or anything from Zach, but we do see him from Stanislav making a few corrections here and there to try and get back on the right line. He does indeed get back onto the right line and back into the fight with Zach right along the bumper once more for the last and final transition and across that finish line.
Well, both these drivers want to advance on to the Great 8, but there is only one spot available. In the lead is Stanislav Tarasov, and in the chase now is Zach O'Sullivan. Stanislav gets away good and initiates in. Zach is there with him as they come over that hill, almost touching the door as they come down the hill. Zach makes that pressure happen, puts the wheel on his wheel as they come through outer zone 2. Through the Manji section, doing everything correct and pushing through Zach just a little further behind maybe than Stanislav was on his chase run, but putting the car exactly where it needs to go. Stanislav leaving the door open that Zach takes advantage of for the finish.
Yeah, tough one to call here. Let's take another look. Stanislav out front, entering in nicely, picking up throttle when he should. Nicely done on his angle as well. You see Zach in that chase position right along the bumper, reels him in. Stanislav maybe a little bit on the inside there of the inside clip. Really hard to tell. Close indeed. Zach falling back just a little bit for that transition, reeling him back in. And then once more for that last and final turn. Let's go to those judges. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Stanislav on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Tough one to call here for those judges. They might take their time here. They might not. They might have a winner. Again, here in the top 16. Do we have it one more time? No, we don't. Zach O'Sullivan, he gets the win. Moves on against Stanislav in a super tough battle there between those two. Chris and Matt choose Zach O'Sullivan. Ed chooses a one more time. I could have lined him up as well. Tough between those two.
What a great battle. What a way to start off the top 16. But we still have many to go. Dejon Reeves up against Cain Ebanks. Dejon in that Corvette. And Cain in his R35. The light goes on in the second battle of the top 16 is underway. Initiating in is Dejon. Cain right there with him though on that aggressive initiation to stick with the Corvette as they come down the hill through outer zone 2. On the door goes Cain Ebanks through outer zone 3. They make the transitions now through the Manji section. Pushing through, Cain getting that door out of outer zone 6. They make the transition clean into outer zone 7. Little bit of proximity loss there from Cain through that outer zone, but sticks with him through the last two.
Yes, take another look here. Dejon out front, leading them through this course. Jumps off that zone just a little bit, has to work back out to the outside. Cain right there in that chase position, staying with him. Reeling him back in there. Reeves out front in that Corvette, filling these outside zones nicely, right upon that track edge as he should. Cain right in the pocket as well, but does fall back a little bit in outside zone 7. Reels him back right along that bumper, and then sacrificing a little bit of angle is Reeves out front in that last and final turn, coming into that last outside zone.
Well, now back around at the start gate, ready to go. Cain Ebanks now in that lead position. And beside him waits Dejon Reeves. The light is on in the second half of this top 16 battles underway. Cain initiates in. Dejon right there with them as they come off that initiation through outer zone 1. Down the hill to outer zone 2. Not as close in proximity as Cain was to Dejon in his chase run, but Dejon making up for it in the Manji section, trying to push as hard as he can and keep on the door of Cain, coming into outer zone 7. A little closer than Cain's chase run, but still making good work of it as they finish out door to door.
Yeah, tough fight between these two. Let's take another look. Cain out front this time in his GTR. Reeves giving chase in that Corvette and applying the pressure early. Staying with Cain through that first turn. Nicely done on the Manji. And there you see a little bit of washout in the front of Reeves' car in that chase position, but then jumping back onto the door through that section of the course. Nicely done coming down through that bump and into outside 7. They continue on, last and final turn of that course. And we go back to the judges. Reeves on the left, Ebanks on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. We're already there. It looks like we have a decision. It's split. We're going to line them back up. Chris chooses Ebanks. Ed goes with a one more time. Matt chooses Reeves. We're going to line them back up. We'll see them go head-to-head once more.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Top 32, second battle, one more time. Top 16, second battle, one more time. But back around to the start gate they come for their one more time battle. Jean Reeves out front. Cain Ebanks ready to chase him down once more. The light goes green and this one more time battle is underway. Down the main straight they come, initiating in. Looking good from both of them. Really close was Cain Ebanks on that initiation through outer zone 1, coming down the hill through outer zone 2, the inside clip, and 3. Cain is keeping that pressure on even in the Manji zone, losing a little bit of ground, but making back up for it in outer zone 6. A little tap to the door there of Dejon Reeves. Dejon Reeves out front, putting the car exactly where it needs to be as Cain gets back up into that pocket just before the finish of the run.
There we go, back to the correct replay there. Dejon continuing on here. Nicely done through this course. And yeah, it looks like Reese maybe struggled to get to the angle that he wanted or maybe even needed for that section of the course. So you see his front kind of maybe washed a little bit. It's kind of an awkward angle coming into that outside zone there, so we'll switch them up and see how the second half of this one more time plays out.
We sure will, and they're already ready to go at the line. Cain Ebanks in the lead. Dejon ready to chase him down. Who will advance on to the top 16, or sorry, the grade 8, to face off against Zach O'Sullivan? Initiating in right on the initiation. Dejon stuck right with Cain all the way through. Not as much angle coming through outer zone 2 and through that inside clip was the chase, but managing to stick with Cain through the Manji section, regain that proximity loss, and get back on the door through outer zone 7. One last transition, a little bump there as Dejon didn't let him have the room to transition, but it didn't upset the run, and they finish it out, and we wait for the judges.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Cain out front in this one more time battle. Second half of it as well. Dejon applying the pressure quickly, but getting caught up in that transition again. As they continue on. Cleaner through the Manju section. Coming down off the bump. Last and final transition coming up. Yeah, maybe grabbing a little bit of the rear bumper of Ebanks out front as well. We'll go to those judges. Reeves on the left, Cain on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. Cain getting the win and moving on. What a tough battle between these two.
What a tough battle indeed, and even bringing out a one more time, but a good job there from Cain to get that win over Dejon. So we have our next top 16 battle ready to go. Robert Kavinsky in the BMW up against Lazam in that S14. The lights go on, and the next top 16 battle is underway. Robert out front initiating in. Lazam being super aggressive off that initiation. Contact there that pushed Robert off, or did Robert go off on his own? We'll have to check the replay there to see what actually happened at the beginning of this run.
Yeah, interesting one there is we had another mic reset, but we're still here. Robert out front. Let's see what all happens here. Was there it doesn't look like there was contact. Tough one to call. Judges will definitely maybe take their time here to assess what happened there with Robert just going flying off course. It did look like Lazam was, being aggressive back there, as he should, but I'm not sure that there was contact. I think Robert just going in a little bit too hot.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either if there was contact or not. It was kind of right at that camera switch, but they're back at the line, ready for a second battle. Let's make it a nice and clean one there, boys. Lazam out front, ready to get chased down by Robert. The lights go on, and the second half of this top 16 battle's underway. Lazam getting up there and initiating in. Right with him, though, is Robert, keeping his nice proximity down the hill, transitioning through outer zone 2. Lazam washing out just a little bit, but keeping it online. Robert just trying his best to get on the door of Lazam, but can't quite seem to grab that proximity to get nice and close. Through outer zone 7, tires dropped for the lead. Might give Lazam that chance he needs to get back up on the door, and gives him a little touch right before the finish.
Yeah, let's take a little look at the replay here. Lazam out front, and a clean run we have this time. Lazam throwing that car in right along that track edge, as he should. Nicely done on the transition. Does take a little bit of that rumble, maybe a little bit on the inside of inside clip 1 as well, but Robert right there with him. Again, I think it's just going to come down to what happened there. The first half of the battle, Lazam doing everything he should here in the lead anyway. Didn't really seem to try and play it safe, or he just went for it.
I mean, with the competition, I think you got to.
Yeah, absolutely. As we will go to those judges to see which way they go here between these two. As I'm sure they're going to review for a moment. So it sounds like we have a decision, and it looks like we do. Look at there, Robert is gonna get the win. After reviewing the replays, it seems as though.
Well, a good job there from Robert to secure that win and his spot in the next round of competition, as we have our next battle here at the line. Alexander Element in the Ferrari up against Kevin Stump in that NOS Energy Drink Nissan Z.
Yeah, it sounds like it's actually coming down to maybe a little bit of lag. So we've had, we've seen the issues that Lazam has been plagued with all day today with his connection to the server. It is an unfortunate one to see, but it does seem as though that Lazam gives him a punt right there on initiation, sending Robert off course.
Well, let's hope he gets that sorted out for round 2, because Lazam, he's looking good out there. Just needs to get the internet sorted, as here comes Alexander Element into that initiation, leaving the Nissan Z of Kevin Stump far behind after the first 3 outer zones and 1 inside clip through the Manji section. Now Kevin Stump starting to regain that ground and starting to catch back up as they come through into outside zone 7. Kevin now starting to get in that pocket of Alexander Element, but just can't quite seem to get up beside him.
Yeah, let's go back to that replay again. Element out front. Kevin Stump giving chase. Graphic a little backwards there as they continue on. And yeah, as you point out, Alexander Element getting out to a huge start against Kevin Stump. As Kevin has to reel him back in, finally catching back up to him through that bump there, and stays with him throughout the remainder of the course. But Alexander Element off to a good start for the first half of their battle.
Well, now we'll see how the second half of the battle goes. Kevin Stump in that lead position now. The Alexander Element ready to chase him down. The lights go on and the second half of this battle is underway. Down the straight initiating in is Kevin Stump. Right with him is Alexander Element, leaving a bit of room. Dropping 2 tires was Kevin Stump, though, as he tried to get it to rotate for that transition. But he gets it back on course and keeps it together as they come through this Manji section now to clip to outside zone 6. And looking good. The chase driver just putting the car where it needs to be. Not too aggressive, but not too far back as they transition one more time through the last and final outer zone, and along the door finishes Alexander Element to Kevin Stump.
Yeah, even dropping a bit of tire there at the last and final outside zone. As we take another look here, Kevin Stump out front going wide for the first outside zone as well, towards the bottom of that hill. Tough to get the car to transition on time there for outside zone 2. He continues on anyway, back onto the correct line. Alexander Element in that chase position, doing well. Last and final transition. Alexander Element maybe playing it a little safe by then as we go to those judges. Kevin Stump on the left, Alexander Element on the right. Again, we're in the top 16 already, so winner moves on into the final top 8. And there it is. We have a decision. Alexander Element gets the win. He'll move on into the top 8 over Kevin Stump. And that is also going to do it for the left side of the top 16 bracket. Zacho Sullivan and Kawain Ebanks will face off in the top 8. Robert Yevsinski and Alexander Element will also go head-to-head in the top 8 in just a bit. But before we do that, Brandon Gardner and Ericus up next on their top right-hand side of this top 16 bracket.
Yeah, that is correct, with Brandon Gardner in that NOS Energy Drink Z in the lead position. Beside him, Ericus Yerkes in the BMW, ready to chase him down for this next half of our top 16 battles. The light goes on and off they go. Brandon getting a good start. Ericus right behind him, though, as they initiate into that first outer zone. Good proximity through that first outer zone as they transition down the hill. Ericus keeping that car exactly where it needs to be as they transition into this Manji section. The next 2 outer zones looking good. Ericus really keeping that pressure onto Brandon Gardner as they come through outer zone 7 and transition now to outer zone 8. Ericus giving them a little tap there right before they cross that finish line.
Yeah, he certainly does. Let's go back to the replay here. Brandon Gardner out front in the top 16 here against Ericus Yerkes, leading him through this course and down the hill. Nice and smooth on the transition as well. A little bit on the inside of that inside clip. Again, they need to get that car around that rumble strip. And around that clip, they continue on anyway. Brandon right along that track edge for that zone, but Ericus applying the pressure. Ericus always a tough one here in the Virtual Drift Championship, and he shows it in the first half of this battle.
Very much so, as we're on to the second half of this battle with Ericus out front, ready to do his lead run and see how well Brandon Gardner can chase. Down the straight they come, initiating. Whoa, we got a call for a restart.
Yeah, first one of the season.
So let's try this again, boys. Don't jump the light. Don't go too soon. Don't go too late. The light goes on and off you guys go. Way better start this time from Ericus Yerkes around. Initiates in. Brandon Gardner sticking right with them as they come down that hill and transition now to outer zone 2. Brandon Gardner really closing the gap there off of that inside clip. Able to stick with them now through the Manji section as they come towards outer zone 6. And the chase driver is doing a good job just to keep that proximity, keep the car where it needs to be. But a good lead run here as well from Ericus out front as they finish out their battle.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay. Ericus out front in the second half of this battle after their restart here. Brandon Gardner entering in alongside, falls back maybe a little bit there in that first outside zone, but then reels him in right past that inside clip. Backs up for that transition in the Manji section. Looking to surge here in that Z is Ericus. Smoothly done throughout the course here. Last and final turn. And across that finish line. A tough 1-2 call for these judges, as really all of the battles have been, other than some mistakes here and there, but evenly matched these two. Brandon Gardner on the left, Ericus Yerkes on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. And look at there, we have a decision, almost a one more time. Chris chooses one more time, but Ed and Matt choose Ericus Yerkes. He gets the win over Brandon Gardner, and we'll see him in the top 8. Tough battle between those two.
Very tough battle indeed, but very good job there from Ericus to get that win and secure one of the very few remaining spots in that top 8. As we have our next battle at the line, Artem Cholkov in that lead position in the FD RX-7. Beside him, Ethan Pikachu in that new Nissan Z. Artem in his last battles really throwing it super aggressive into his initiation. So let's see what happens this time around. Artem throws it in, but even more aggressive was Ethan on that initiation. What even was that? He just got glued to the door through outer zone 1, left room for the transmission, went back to the door. Now they come through that Manji section, heading towards outer zone 6. Ethan is not giving him any room to breathe from that chase position. The lead has to stay exactly on it, or else it could be a fault on him. And there they are finishing out that run, and wow, Ethan.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Artem out front, good initiation, but look at there, just door to door on that initiation. Does drop back, but then surges right back up into the pocket of Artem in that small RX-7 there. Ethan doing a good job in that chase, staying with him. Good start to the first half of this top 16 battle. Well, that's a final turn. Nicely done by that lead and across the finish line.
Well, back around now at the start, the positions are flipped around. Ethan now in that lead position, ready to have some fun out front, but being chased down by Artem Cholkov. Can he respond to Ethan's amazing initiation as they initiate in? And there it is. Artem sticking right with Ethan all the way through that initiation and down the hill and keeping it nice and close in proximity. Ethan doing a wonderful lead run out here so far, but Artem is not giving him any room to breathe. Look at that, right along the door as they come through outer zone 6, make the transition into 7. Artem says, thank you, I want this space right here, and that space is on your door as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, holy smokes. Let's take another look here. Ethan out front. Nicely done on the initiation. Artem as well. Look at there, right along that bumper through that first transition. A little bit differently done than Ethan in his chase position. As they continue on, just bumper to bumper through the transitions. Artem applying the pressure, coming down off the small hill through the bump into outside 7. Last and final transition right along that bumper once more. And there they go across that finish line. We go to the judges. Artem on the left, Ethan on the right. Winner moves on to the top 8. Will we have maybe another one more time? We've got a decision. Artem gets the win. Moving on. What a battle between those two. Again, ridiculous aggression off the start. For Ethan in that chase position, but he does drop back a little bit. Maybe doesn't keep the same aggressiveness that Artem keeps throughout the majority of his chase run. Lead the lead. They were very similar. Tough one to call for the judges.
Yeah, what an unreal run between those two, and a big congrats on Artem to get through and take the next spot in that top 8 later today. And now our next top 16 battle. Danilius in the BMW in that lead position up against Darius Ostreka in the chase as they initiate in. Looking good off the initiation. Danilius doing a good job through outer zone 1, bringing it down the hill. Darius keeping it right there with him and glued to the side of that E46 as they come through the Manji section towards outer zone 6. Darius just keeping a good proximity, keeping it right in the pocket, right where it needs to be as they do their final transition through the final outer zone and cross that line.
Yeah, what a bright battle between the yellow cars here as we take another look. Parangauska's out front, Ostreka in that chase position. And a good initiation from Parangauskis as they make that first transition. Look at there, Darius Ostreka in the chase. Nicely done in the pocket, matching the angle, matching the line. Smooth through the transitions, right along the bumper of Parangauskis, who is doing a fantastic lead out front. Nicely done into outside 7. Tricky zone. That's a final transition out to the outside and across that finish line.
Well, back around at the start gate, they are flipped around and ready to go again. Darius Ostreka in that lead lane, and Danilius ready to chase him down. Down the straight they come and initiating in. Danilius right there with Darius all the way through outer zone 1 as they transition down the hill. Danilius really gets in there from that chase position, trying to close that pocket and stay even closer to Darius on this chase run. But Darius doing a good job out front here, trying to keep that car exactly where the judges want him to keep it in a lead run. But Danilius really keeping that pressure on him, even going as far to almost push him through that finish line.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Darius Ostreka out front. Nicely done on the initiation there, right along that track edge. But Parangauskis applying the pressure in that chase position. That E36 back there, tucking up nicely into the pocket. Maybe not quite as smooth, especially there through that transition in that outside zone, as they work their way down off the little bank. into outside 7. A bit of a gap established between the two. Darius Ostraka out front might have this in the bag. It's a tough one, though. Let's go to the judges. Parengauskas on the left, Ostraka on the right. Again, winner moves on into the top 8. Looks like we might have a decision here. Darius Ostraka gets a vote, but no, yeah, we do. So, one more time. They're going to line them back up. We'll see them face off.
So another one more time called here in the top 16. Cornelius is going to reclaim his spot here at the top of the start gate in that lead position. And Darius Ostraka is going to get ready to chase him down one more time.
I don't mind it one bit.
And here we go for the one more time battle here in the top 16. Cornelius initiates in a little bit of contact off that initiation, but it doesn't upset the drivers. Darius sticks with him through outer zone 1, down the hill through that inside clip. Darius now on the door of Cornelius as they transition into the Manji section. Out to outer zone 6 now. Darius really keeping it close, keeping that proximity as close as he can to Cornelius as they come through outer zone 8 up to 9 on the door and across the line.
Yeah, let's check it out again here. Parengauskas leading Darius Ostraka through the first half of this one more time battle, and almost some contact there before the initiation when Parengauskas swings his rear out to load up for that initiation, but they continue on anyway here through a fantastic run. Once again, Darius Ostraka right there in the pocket, right there along the bumper each time that Parengauskas makes a transition here. Last and final one, working the way to the outside, and there they go, finishing up the first half of the one more time battle.
And now to start the second half of the one more time battle, Darius Ostraka takes his place in the lead lane, and in the chase is Cornelius. And they're ready to go to see who will advance into one of the 2 remaining spots left in that top 8. The light goes on, and down the straight they come. Initiating in is Darius out front, but a huge shunt from Cornelius in the rear. Too hard of initiation, pushing that lead driver offline and into the dirt. And that'll be all she wrote for Cornelius's rookie run here at round 1. But a good job to make it to the top 16.
Absolutely. It is a really tough feat to do in the Virtual Drift Championship, much less just make it on into the top 32. We will take another look at it, though. Darius Ostraka out front in the second half of this one more time battle, and there it is. That little bit of contact there. Tough spot to do it in. It does look like Darius picked up throttle on time as well. We'll take another look at it here. See if we can get that replay to restart. There it is. Yeah, yep, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll go back to the judges panel there. Parengauskas on the left, Darius Ostraka on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. There they go, starting to slide right. Darius Ostraka gets the win, and we'll see him in the top 8.
So Darius Ostraka filling that second last spot, and now one more spot in the Great 8 remains. The top 8 And it comes down to these two here. The final battle of the top 16 here of round 1 of the Virtual Drift Championship. Alan Hines in the lead lane up against Brandon Patrick in that Ferrari, who's going to be ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and the last battle of the top 16 is underway. Alan Hines initiates in and looking good, but Brandon Patrick is right there with him down the hill, leaving almost no room on that transition through Outer Zone 2. Now into Outer Zone 3, keeping that door closed on Alan Hines every time they make a transition. A little tap there, though, coming into Outer Zone 6. That might have upset him, but it doesn't look like it did too much until right there where he makes contact again, not leaving room for the transition and finishing out that run.
Yeah, Brandon maybe being a little bit too aggressive here in that chase position in the first half of this battle. Alan Hines out front, could have been a little bit deeper at the beginning of one, but works back out to the outside. Brandon Patrick doing a good job in that chase position to stay with Alan Hines, who we know is quick throughout these courses. You get a little bump there from that chase position. They transition into outside zone 7, and there, hitting the back bumper of Alan Hines and kind of holding Alan up from transitioning there into the last and final turn.
Well, there is still one more half to this final top 16 battle. Brandon Patrick now in that lead. Alan Hines ready to chase him down. It is all or nothing for one of these guys to make it further in today's competition. The lights go on and off they go. Brandon Patrick lighting up those tires and initiating in. Alan Hines right there with them, wheel to wheel through Outer Zone 1 as they transition down the hill through that inside flip. Alan Hines is all over Brandon Patrick as they come through the Manji section now, almost leaving no room on those transitions coming up to Outer Zone 6 and now making that transition into Outer Zone 7. Alan Hines just trying to keep that car as close as physically possible and just leaving it on the door of Brandon all the way through to the finish.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Brandon out front and doing a crazy thing here. You see he enters in, drops a wheel over that line, and it is tough to keep the car going. He planted his foot, but he ends up pushing a little bit too hard there, maybe catching up some speed from it, not really controlling it, going a little wide for outside 3, up onto that rumble strip. They keep going though, and he figures it out, back onto that track edge at every outside zone, but maybe leaving the door open for Alan to get the win here. Again, it's going to be up to these judges. Tough one to call between these two, Alan Hines and Brandon Patrick, rounding out our top 16. Last and final one, winner moves on to the top 8. And we have a decision. Alan Hines gets the win over Brandon Patrick. We'll see him in the top 8, but a good fight from Brandon Patrick indeed. So let's take a look at that bracket there. Zacho Sullivan and Cain Ebanks, Robert and Alexander Element, Ericus Ericus, Artem Chokov, Darius Ostreka, and Alan Hines all in the top 8.
And what a top 8 it is going to be. I mean, that top 16 was heart beating enough. I feel like my heart's going to come through my chest. And now we still have to go through the hardest part of the day. The best of the best to make it through to this point. And here we go with the cars at the line. The first of this top 8 battles. Zacho Sullivan in the lead position in his new S14 up against Cain Ebanks with that R35 out of the start gate clean and initiating in. Zacho Sullivan does a great initiation. Right with him is Cain Ebanks through that outer zone 1, and a huge hit from behind from Cain Ebanks into outer zone 2, but it doesn't upset Zach O'Sullivan coming through these Imanji's section into outer zone 6. Cain still doing a good job at keeping that proximity, but at this level, contact like that could make or break an entire run for you, as Cain has another little tap with the front fender of Zach before they finish out that run.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Zach out front, number 1 qualifier today. Ebanks giving chase in that R35. Looking good here through turn 1, and yeah, a big shunt there. It does send Zach a little bit wide of outside zone 3, as well as that first inside clip. Just, not allowing him to transition in the manner that he wanted to. So it took a little bit longer for that car to get the angle and him back on throttle, but they continue on. Cain applying the pressure, but that is going to be a mistake from that chase driver.
Back around at the start gate, Cain Ebanks in that lead position. Zach O'Sullivan ready to chase him down. The light goes on and off they go. Cain initiating in, Zach O'Sullivan initiating in with him down through outer zone 1. A decent proximity there from Zach O'Sullivan as they come through outer zone 2. Now starting to close the door big time onto Cain Ebanks, but Zach just doing exactly what he needs to do with that car. Keep it right there in that pocket and just let it ride. Mimic that lead driver. Cain out front doing a good job. Oh, a little contact there, not leaving enough room for the transition, but the run ends, and this is going to be a fun one for the judges.
Yeah, maybe a little bit similar there. Let's take another look here. Cain Ebanks out front in the GTR, getting chased down by number 1 qualifier Zach O'Sullivan, and Zach leaving a bit of room through the first turn and first transition, but then reeling Cain back in for the rest of the course. Sacrificing a little bit of line there is Zach in that chase position, but staying with Cain nonetheless throughout the course. And then there, a little bit of a shunt there, but it seemed to affect Zach more than it did Cain. Let's go to the judges panel there. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Cain Ebanks on the right. Winner moving on to the final 4. And we're already in the top 8. Judges really analyzing the runs between these two. And look at here, we have a decision. Chris goes left, Ed goes left as well. Zach O'Sullivan will get the win unanimously as well. All 3 judges choosing Zach O'Sullivan. We'll see him in the final 4.
Now Zach out here to make a statement in round 1. He's in that final 4. Robert Kavinsky now coming up to the line in his BMW. Alexander Element in the Ferrari in the chase position. And here we go for our second top 8 battle. Robert Kavinsky out front, leading away. Alexander Element chasing him down, initiating in. Robert Kavinsky does a good job on the initiation. Alexander Element right there with him through outer zone 1, down into outer zone 2, right close in proximity through that inside clip and out to outer zone 3, now into the Manji section. Got to leave just enough room for that transition, grazing the bumpers as Alexander Element is putting on the pressure to Robert, especially through outer zone 7 here, leaving that room for the transition, and now getting back up on that door and almost pushing him through that finish line.
Yeah, nicely done. Let's go back to the replay. Robert out front, leading Alexander Element. Robert initiating in, riding that track edge all the way through. Turn 1, hangs on to the outside line, maybe a little too long, but doesn't really affect his line all that much at all. He gets back onto it, and these track edges as they should. Alexander Element right there in the pocket with that big Ferrari. Chasing that 2 series down of Robert Kevsinski. And across that finish line for the first half of their top 8 battle.
Well, now back, ready for the second half of their battle. Alexander Element now in the lead. Robert ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Alexander Element lighting up those tires down the straight and initiating in, but Robert right there on the door as they come off the initiation through outer zone 1 down to outer zone 2. Robert trying to keep that pressure as much as he can. That's a huge surf through the Manji section, almost letting no room there for the transition. Dropping some tire in that chase as they come through outer zone 7. Taking a really shallow line was Robert, just trying to keep up with the sheer speed of that Ferrari of Alexander Element.
Yeah, let's take another look here. Alexander Element out front. Robert giving chase, and Robert getting a little left behind here in a certain portion of this course. They come down the hill. Here it is as he surges in. Now, Alexander Element on a bit of a weird line. He was going wide for inside clip and was washing out, was gonna go wide for outside 3, but it seemed like he started maybe clutch kicking to get that car to change directions. You see Robert come up real fast and then also have to change directions. It's an interesting one that let's let it play here again one more time on the replay. Initiating in, nicely done by both of the drivers. Good transition. See there, washing a little wide and coming up short of outside 3. It's a tough one, and it is up to those judges as we go to the panel. Robert on the left, Element on the right. Winner moves on into the final 4. And there it is. Alexander Element gets the win, moves on against Robert. And we'll see him in the final 4, but good fight from Robert.
Yeah, Robert trying to lay it down, but Alexander Element just getting the edge there and moving on as we go to our next top 8 battle. Ericus and Artem Cholkov. Artem will be leading in that FDRX7, and Ericus will be chasing him down in the BMW. The light goes on and off they go, initiating in. Wow, Ericus really taking a chance there with that initiation just to keep on the door of Artem through that outer zone 1. Already into the Manji section they come, and Ericus is giving him no breathing room whatsoever, putting the tire on the door through outer zone 6, making that transition into outer zone 7, holding it together and holding it down. This is a good battle between these two.
It certainly is. Let's go back to the replay here. Cholkov out front, initiating that RX-7 in, picking up throttle when he should, and Ericus being super aggressive in that chase, as he should as well, reeling him back in right into the pocket of that RX-7 as they continue on through turn 2 into the Manji section. Right along the bumper is Ericus in that chase. They continue on down off the little hill through the bump into outside 7, filling that zone completely. There they go across that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start and ready for the second half of their battle. Ericus in the lead. Artem ready to chase him down. Ericus initiating in, Artem right there with him as they come through outer zone 1, door to door down the hill. Lots of angle there from the lead driver of Ericus, the chase driver. utilizing some less angle to keep up with that speed through that inside clip into outer zone 3 through the Manji section, nice and clean. Still on the door is that chase driver to Ericus as they come through outer zone 7 now. Transitioning one last time, Artem puts it on the door of Ericus and finishes out the run.
Wow, let's go back to it. Ericus out front this time in the second half of this battle between these two. Here's that replay coming down the hill. Nicely done. You see Artem's front wash just a little bit through that first transition of the course, but he gets right back into it, right along those bumpers and into the pocket of that E92 up front. As they make their transition into outside 7, continuing along. Right on the bumper is Artem in that chase. And there they go across that finish line. And we go to the judges once more here in the top 8. Ericus on the left, Artem on the right. Who will we see in the final 4? And look at there, Artem Chokov getting the win over Ericus Jerkus, moving on into the final 4. Artem has been showing out today.
He sure has. Artem has come out swinging, getting 7th in qualifying, and just been making it work through all of his battles today. But we have the last battle of the top 8 here and ready to go. Alan Hines in that lead position, ready to get chased down by Darius Ostreka in the BMW. The lights go on, and the final battle of the top 8 is underway. Alan Hines initiates in, Darius Ostreka right there with him as they come through outer zone 1, nice and clean. Transitioning down the hill now, getting to that inside clip and out to outer zone 3. Darius doing a great job at putting that car right in the pocket of Alan Hines and really pushing it up and trying to get on that door through outer zone 6, but just couldn't get it done all the way to the door. But still leaving a good proximity through outer zone 8 and 9. I'd say that's a very clean battle between these two.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Alan Hines out front. Darius Ostreka chasing him down. First transition nice and smooth by both of them. Darius almost looks to be playing it safe, but we know Alan can be super fast through the course, but Alan pouring on the angle there through that transition in the Manji section. Nicely done in the outside 3. Darius right there with him along that bumper as well. And reeling him in across that finish line.
Well, back around to the start gate, Darius Ostreka takes his position in the lead, and Alan Hines gets ready to chase him down for the second half of this final battle for the top 8 to see who will go up against Artem in that final 4. The lights go on and off they go through that start gate down the straight and initiating in. And it looks good so far. Alan Hines right on the door through outer zone 1 and even closer around this time through outer zone 2 and 3, leaving enough room for that transition to happen as they come through outer zone 5 and down into 6. The pressure being put on from Alan Hines is immense, but Darius Ostreka is not wavering in putting the car exactly where he needed to put it.
Yeah, and here we go with that replay. Darius Ostreka out front this time for the second half of their battle. And look at that. Alan in that chase position right along the door through turn 1. Hard thing to do as we move along through the course. Darius Ostreka doing what he should out front, filling these zones very smoothly, transition throughout the course. As Alan Hines applies that pressure in the chase position, falls back a little bit, but then quickly reels him back in throughout that last and final turn. We go to the judges. Darius Ostreko on the left, Alan Hines on the right. Last and final battle before we move into the top 4. And it looks like we have a decision. We do. Alan Hines getting the win over Darius Ostreko. Well earned indeed, as he applied that pressure in the chase position. Lead to lead was very, very even. But that chase, Alan doing what he needed to do. Let's take a look at that top 8 bracket as we move into the final 4. Zach O'Sullivan, Alexander Element, Artem Chokov, and Alan Hines will face off in the top 4.
Starting out our top 4, here we go. Zach O'Sullivan, last year's VDC champion, up against Alexander Element in the Ferrari, who will move on to the finals. As we wait for the lights to ignite, there they go. This battle is underway. Zach out front, Alexander chasing. Initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan. Alexander Element right with him, though, through that initiation as they come down the hill and transition. And a huge hit from Alexander Element, but it doesn't waver. Zach O'Sullivan in that lead. He sticks with it and keeps doing what he has to do, with Element losing some pace through that Manji section and now is trying to regain it through these next 2 outer zones and manages to make it happen and get back on the door of Zach O'Sullivan right before the finish.
Yeah, here we go, transitioning back to the replay. Zach O'Sullivan, last season's champion, initiating in this top 4 lead run against Alexander Element, and then you see there Element maybe getting a little bit too aggressive in that chase position, giving Zach a big bonk there at the bottom of the hill, throwing him off inside clip as they continue on through the course here. Zach back on the proper lead line now. Alexander Element back on the proper chase, reeling him back in for this last and final outside zone and across the finish line.
And now back around at the top. Alexander Element in the lead. Zach O'Sullivan ready to chase him down. Who will take the first spot in the final battle for today? The lights go on and the drivers' battle gets underway. Zach O'Sullivan on the door off of the initiation through outer zone 1. Comes down the hill through that inside clip. Alexander Element doing a good job here, but Zach not giving him any breathing room through these transitions, getting right back up on the door as soon as there's a gap built. The Ferrari able to pull away a little bit here through outer zone 7, but now able to be pulled back in, and Zach O'Sullivan gets back on that door before finishing out that final run.
Yeah, let's look back at it. The second half of this top 4 battle between these two. Zach, the way he entered right along the door, I'm not sure if he even needed to do that. And it kind of hangs him up for the first transition. He misses out on outside 2, but he gets back into the fight with Alexander Element out front doing what he needs to do in this lead position, but leaving that a little bit early. Awkward transition in the middle of the course there, but continues on. Zach O'Sullivan in that chase position trying to reel that Ferrari back in. It's a tough one to do. We'll go to the judges panel. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Alexander Element on the right. Up to the judges to see who moves on into the final battle. Loser will stick around for the 3rd place battle. It looks like it might be Zach O'Sullivan. It is. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win, moves on to the finals as the returning champion continues on with this event. Zach
O'Sullivan moving on into the final battle of the day. Now to find out who is going to go against him. But don't go anywhere, Element. You still got your third place battle, and that'll be decided on this one here. Alan Hines in the S15 in that lead position up against Artem Cholkov for the final spot in that final battle of today. The lights go on and off they go, initiating in. Super aggressive initiation there from Artem in that chase as they come down the hill, almost make contact but don't, through outer zone 2. Artem is giving Alan no breathing room here as they come through the Manji section and over towards outside zone 6. Look at the proximity from Artem in that chase. Artem really laying it down and trying his hardest here as they come through outer zone 8 and 9, finishing out door to door.
Yeah, let's take a look back at the replay. Alan Hines out front in this top 4 battle against Artem Cholkov. Artem has been super aggressive on initiation all day, and he does it again here against Alan Hines, dropping back for the first transition right along the bumper with Alan as they continue on through this course. Alan all the way out there to the track edge in these outside zones through the Manji section of the course, but look at Artem right there in the chase position, using a little bit of foot brake to stay off the door of Alan Hines as they make their last and final transition out to that last outside zone and across the finish line.
Well, back around at the front at the start is the second half of this final place battle to see who will be going up against Zach and who will be going up against Alexander. Volkov now in that lead position. Alan Hines giving chase, initiating in, and it looks good. That proximity is almost perfect from Alan Hines in that chase position as they come down through outer zone 2, touching wheels through that inside clip, making it work now through the Manji section, just leaving barely any room for those transitions to happen. Alan Hines putting it right on the door, almost not letting Artem make the transition. A little contact made, but Alan Hines still keeping that pressure on as Artem finishes out the run.
Yeah, here we go with the second half of the battle on the replay here with Artem out front this time, initiating in, lacking a little bit of angle there. But Alan staying with him through turn 1, reels him back in after the transition. They work their way into the Manji section. A little bit less angle from Artem throughout that section of the course, but Alan right there with him. A small bump coming into outside 7 as well, holding up Artem from transition. Not too much though as they continue on across that finish line. And we once again go to those judges. Artem on the left, Alan Hines on the right. And last and final battle here in the top 4. Winner moves on into the finals. Loser will hang around though for their third place battle against Alexander Element. Tough battle ahead. Winner will face off against Zacho Sullivan. Oh, and it looks like we have a decision. We do. It is a one more time. Matt chooses Artem. But 2 one more times is going to send him into a one more time and line him back up.
I think a one more time is a great call as both these drivers are just dialed in and just being, they're probably some of the most aggressive transitions of the day and initiations. Just right there to the door, and it's okay. Let's see how much paint we can remove before the judges get mad at us. So here we go with the one more time battle between Alan Hines and Artem Cholkov. The light goes on, and off they go. Down the straight, initiating in. Looking good so far. Artem right there on the door of Alan Hines. They come down out of outer zone 1, transitioning through outer zone 2. Artem not really matching that angle of Alan Hines, but getting there through outer zone 3. A little bit of a tire drop there on the first outer zone 4 as they come through outer zone 6 now. Still keeping that pressure on is Artem in that chase position, leaving barely any room for error as they come through that final outer zone side by side.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Alan Hines out front this time in this one more time battle between the two. Alan Hines entering in right along that track edge, but we see him there drop a bit of a tire, hang on to that outside zone maybe a little bit too long, catching some rumble, and then here as well going a little bit too wide too early for outside zone 3. Gets back on the correct line here through the Manju section of the course, pouring on the angle there through the bump, and filling outside zone 7 with Artem Chokov right there in that chase position, applying the pressure across that finish line.
Now back around, ready to go for the second half of their one more time battle. Artem now in the lead. Alan Hines going to chase him down one more time to see who will be going up against Zach O'Sullivan and who will be going up against Alexander Element as they come through. Maybe contact made there from Alan Hines off that initiation and down the hill through outer zone 1, but they keep in it and they stay going as they come through outer zone 5 into 6 now. Alan Hines not as aggressive there, but gets back up on the door and hits Artem once more as they transition for the final time and come up that hill and finish out the run.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for the judges here. Let's look closely as they initiate. Man, it is so close whether there's contact or not between those two. In the first turn, Artem going a little bit too deep, falling off the course. He hangs onto it somehow, even dropping a tire on the rumble. You lose a lot of grip in doing so, and they keep things going anyway. It looks like Alan might have given him a little rear bumper tap in outside 7 as well, and there they go across that finish line. We go to the judges, wait on their decision. Artem on the left, Alan Hines on the right. See a few of you asking if this track is going to be public. It of course is. I know we've been a little late on a couple of them. We'll blame Jonathan and Joker Design on that one. Him, getting caught up in other projects as well, has had a hard time finishing like Yellen's and maybe other ones. But this one will be public. Small little things to fix before we do make it a public track. So it might be Monday, it might be tomorrow. So stay tuned. Make sure you're in our Discord as well, because Discord always gets the tracks and any of the public content first.
Well, while we're still waiting for the judges there, are we going to tell them this round what the prizes are?
I don't think so, but exciting.
We're gonna make them wait, keep them in suspense.
Super duper exciting stuff that we just got to get finalized. Everything happened really fast, so we're working with them to sort that out. And look at there, Artem Chokov gets the win over Alan Hines. Chris chooses Alan Hines. Ed and Matt both choose Artem Chokov, giving Artem the win. We'll see Artem in the finals, and we'll see Alan Hines go up against Alexander Element for 3rd place.
Yeah, and that battle will be taking place right now, actually. So we will have Alan Hines in the lead position, doing battle once more up against Alexander Element. Maybe if I say it twice. Up against Alexander Element. Yeah, see, it always works the second time.
There he is.
So here we go for the third place battle of round one here of the Virtual Drift Championship. Alan Hines in that lead position, up against Alexander Element, chasing him down. Initiating in is Alan Hines. Good initiation. Alexander Element matching him through that first outer zone as they drop down the hill and come to that inside clip. Alexander is all over the door there of Alan Hines as they come into the Manji section here. Right along, matching that angle nicely, following that line through into outer zone 7. And this is a very clean battle between these two as he gets right up on the door and they finish out side by side.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay for the first half of the third place battle. Alan Hines out front, leading Alexander Element through the course, leaving that zone as well as they work down the hill now. Alexander Element right up into the pocket of Alan Hines, doing a fantastic job here through this run. Again, for third place and for round one of season 8, putting up a fight against Alan Hines, who's doing a clinical lead run out front.
Let's see if Alexander Element can respond in the lead lane here. And Alan Hines, it's your time to shine, to chase him down. The light is on. Lots of wheel spin off the line. But Alexander Element initiates in. Alan Hines right on the wheel as they come through outer zone 1 and down the hill into outer zone 2. Some proximity lost there from Alan Hines as they come through that inside clip and into outer zone 3. But he's starting to regain it now after the Manji section and putting that S15 right up to the door of that for big Ferrari of Alexander Element. One more outer zone to go, and there they go across the line. Who will take third place today?
Let's take another look at the second half of this battle here. Element out front, and look at the pressure applied by Alan Hines. Now he does fall off before making that first transition. You see Element a little bit on the inside of that inside clip. As they continue on, Alan right back into the fight here in the pocket, right along the bumper of Alexander Element as well. They fail outside zone 7. Alan leaving it a little bit early, and there they go across that finish line. We go to the judges for almost the final time of the day. We've got one more battle ahead. Who takes home third place? Alexander Element or Alan Hines? Element on the left, Alan on the right. Judges are asking the final battle to line up. Do we have a decision here? And it looks like we do. Alan Hines is going to get the win, take home third place today over Alexander Element. Element putting up a fight in that Ferrari, but just not enough to take home third place over Alan Hines.
But now, on to the one you've been waiting for all day long. If you've been watching since qualifying, since the last 16, the top 32, top 16, top 8, final 4, and now it comes down to this. Our number 1 qualifier, Zach O'Sullivan in the lead lane. Number 7th qualifier, Artem Cholkov, chasing him down. Who is going to win round 1 of season 8 of the Virtual Drift Championship? A little behind out of outer zone 1 was Artem Cholkov, but regaining that proximity down the hill towards outer zone 3, not leaving a lot of room there for the transition, but Zach isn't shaken up by it, and they continue on. Coming into outer zone 7, Artem is wheel to wheel with Zach, and maybe a little tap there as they came out of outer zone 7. Last transition, they finish wheel to wheel.
Let's go back to the replay for what might be the final time today. Zach O'Sullivan out front, Artem Cholkov in that chase. They work their way down this hill. Zach O'Sullivan out front with a good lead there as Artem right up on the bumper through that first transition. They'll continue on again right there on the bumper of Zach O'Sullivan. So they make their way through. Last and final transition, last zone, and there they go across that finish line.
Well, here we go. The final half of the battle of the Virtual Drift Championship Season 8 Round 1, sponsored by Sim Magic, Extreme Sim Racing, Grip Royal, Yoka Design. Artem out front. Zach is going to chase. Who will take it home? A super aggressive initiation from Zach O'Sullivan in that chase position. Artem holding it down in the lead, but leaving no room with Zach out of those first 4 clips as they come through outer zone 6 into outer zone 6 and into outer zone 7. Zach O'Sullivan is right there in the pocket, but Artem is doing a great job out front here to leave it all for the judges to decide here today.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here. Artem out front, Zach O'Sullivan chasing him down. And is it enough for Zach to get the win? Look at there, door to door through turn 1. You see Artem using a little bit of foot brake through turn 1 as well, but they continue on anyway as Zach pushes him down that hill. They keep on going through the transitions in that Manji section, right up on the bumper, but is it the same pressure that Artem was applying in his chase? And is that lead as clean as Zach O'Sullivan's lead? We go to the judges for the final battle here between these two. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, Artem Chokov on the right. Will we have a decision, or will we line them back up for one more time here in the finals of round 1 in Portimao?
And this is the time where I'm happy I'm a commentator, not a judge.
It's a tough one, and a very little thanked job to do. They do it right. They're doing what they're supposed to. They make a small mistake or a difference of opinion. It's the end of the world.
Pitchforks.
World explodes. It's tough for sure. And that's why we have our drivers meetings. We try and explain everything to the viewers as well, so that everyone understands where those judges are coming from and how they are making those decisions that they are making.
Well, I think it's a good thing to do that too, because the average viewers, some of them, they may watch FD, they may watch some of the real life drifting from around the world, and still may be confused on things, where we like to keep it very open and explain almost everything, what the judges are explaining, what calls were made. No, we haven't figured out how T-Con's a robot, but he is.
Yeah, but had some miscalculations today as we didn't get to see him. And look at there. So Chris wanted it one more time. Ed and Matt choose Artem Chokov, and he gets the win for round 1 here at Portimao over Zach O'Sullivan. And we'll take a look at that final bracket there. Artem Chokov qualifying 7th, taking home first place today over Zach O'Sullivan, who qualifies first. He'll take home 2nd. And Alan Hines coming in at 3rd after qualifying 6th in an unbelievable round 1 event here at Portimao.
Wow. Artem coming out swinging for round 1.
Absolutely, and he really did fight his way through this field today. The amount of aggression that he put on display today in these battles in that chase position was super fun to watch all the way through. Shout out, all these drivers did a fantastic job all the way through qualifying. Our new system as well with the last 16 qualifying battles, that was a lot of fun on top of everything that went down today for round 1. It looks like we should be getting our typical 3-man, traditional 3-man at this point.
I love how that just became a thing.
It really did. We didn't we didn't ask them to do it or anything like that. It really did just turn into a thing, and we've got Artem leading the way. Alan's gonna run into a cone there and not make it through. As they enter in and get one more tandem in. Alan gets left behind, as he should. That one's definitely going on socials later. Good job, Alan Hines. Ellen is also raging in the Discord.
Well, there it is. The end to what an amazing round one and an amazing start to Season 8 of the Virtual Drift Championship.
Absolutely. They may line up once more here. Let's give them the opportunity to. And there they go. Artem Chokov leading the way. Finishing their actual traditional 3-man through that course. Fantastic job once again from all of those drivers. So we take another look here at that final bracket. Artem taking home the win. First place today for round one. Zacho Solomon taking home second. Alan Hines taking home third. What an event here at Portimao.
Definitely, and one final big shout out to all of our sponsors this year: Sim Magic Extreme, Sim Racing, Grip Royal, and Joka Design for all of their support and all the fun stuff that'll come at the next round.
Absolutely, and everyone that tuned in today, it's been fun. Hope everyone enjoyed our new format that we had with those extra battles. Sure, added a little bit of time today. We had a little hiccup in between, but I think we can get that down and really only add maybe around 30 minutes to the whole entire event. But nonetheless, extremely fun today. Hope everyone enjoy it, and hope to see you back for the next round in just a few weeks. We'll release more information about it as we get closer, as again we're releasing the tracks to the pro drivers just a week in advance rather than 2 weeks. Give them a little bit less practice. As you see, it really didn't matter all that much today. And yeah, some more super exciting tracks coming up, all new layouts all season. Is the plan. It doesn't always work out that way, but we do try our best to make that happen, and I think that is really going to happen. If you're interested in the track, we will be releasing this soon, as well as a big update to our public car pack. We've got a couple of cars being added to the roster, as well as new data for all the cars that help even out the competition even further. So a lot of good changes, a lot of fun changes, a lot of new content. Yellens is scheduled to get released soon as well, as we work with Joka to finish that up. Maybe some new layouts coming to that later on top of everything. But again, thank you all for tuning in. We're going to wrap things up, send you on your way. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
sunshine.